Hello students, in the series of lectures in the subject VLSI technology, we are discussing lithography. In the previous lectures, we discussed introduction of lithography, optical lithography, and electron beam lithography. Now, next step that is performed after lithography is basically etching. Okay, so we protect some regions with the help of some masks like silicon dioxide. It also works as masks. And after lithography, we etch silicon dioxide. Okay. So, what are the steps that are performed in etching? So, etching is important. Okay. This is the step that was performed after lithography. Okay. Now, what are the things that happens here? So, whatever surface or substrate we want to etch, okay, it reacts with the etching solution. So we use etching solution in case of wet chemical etching. As the name suggests, the etching solution, okay, is used to etch a particular surface. So this process of etching is called wet chemical etching. Dry chemical etching is also there. Okay, we will discuss in subsequent sessions. But here in this lecture, we will discuss wet chemical etching. So what are the steps that are being performed? So first step is the steps that are being performed in wet chemical etching. The first step performed is the transport of etchant material or etchant surface to the material that is to be etched. Suppose you want to etch this particular surface, so you have to transport etchant material to the material that is to be etched. Once the etchant material has been transported to the material that is to be etched, then surface reaction occurs at the surfaces. Okay, the products that are formed here after the reaction, those are removed. This is the third step. Okay, so removal of products, reaction products must be removed. Okay, so transport of reaction products from the surface. Okay, so these are the three steps that are performed in wet chemical etching. So first step is we have a etching solution. Okay, and whatever surface we want to use, we dip that particular surface, particular device in the, we make a contact of that particular surface with the etching solution. Then surface reaction takes place, reaction products are formed that can be removed from the reactions. Okay, so the etchant very next to the surface to be etched react with it and can be depleted. So what does it mean? Suppose this is the surface that you want to etch. This is the surface that you want to etch. Okay, you made it in close contact with the etching solution. Okay, so etching solution is here. This is the etching solution. So the layer of etching solution very next to this surface, this layer is known as a stagnant layer. So whatever etchant is present here in this layer, that will react with the surface atoms, and after reaction this surface atoms will be etched, okay, removed. Now if this stagnant layer does not remove itself, so when this stagnant layer reacts with the surface atoms, okay, surface reaction takes place. So there must be a continuous supply of etchant because stagnant layer is depleting continuously by reacting with the surface. Okay, so this is your stagnant layer, and above that you have etching solution in which etchant is there, and this is the surface. So etchant reacts with the surface. Okay, now this stagnant layer is depleted, so there must be a continuous supply of etchant through the stagnant layer. Okay, so there is obviously the concentration gradient. The concentration gradient is formed of the etchant in the etching solution. Okay, so the etchant will going to diffuse through the stagnant layer. Okay, this is how first step is completed. The first step was what? Transport of etchant material to the material that is the etch. So basically the etchant material is diffused through the stagnant layer. Okay, now etching may be anisotropic, may be constant throughout, or may be different. So if we have polycrystalline surfaces, then etching is uniform, that is isotropic. So depending upon the substrate that you want to etch, you will have isotropic or anisotropic etching. Okay. Now third step, we must have some means of removing reaction products. So we use basically stirring process for this. Okay. Now there are certain important materials which are being etched. So first is etching of silicon. So etching of silicon itself contains two steps. First is, in first, silicon is converted into silicon dioxide by using oxidation. Okay, so anodic oxidation reaction takes place first. First anodic oxidation reaction takes place, and silicon is converted into silicon dioxide. Then in the second step, we etch silicon dioxide. Okay, this is how we etch silicon. So what is the anodic oxidation reaction that takes place? Hmm? So on onto the silicon surface, suppose this is your silicon and this is the surface. So there are various points onto this. Okay. So silicon is converted into Si2 plus ions with the help of holes. So holes are basically, let's say these are available here, holes are available here. So these reacts with silicon and form Si2 plus. Now H2O is also converted into H plus and OH minus ions. So this Si2 plus will react with OH and will form SiOH2. And this HiOH2 will ultimately form SiO2 and hydrogen. Okay. So this is the anodic oxidation reaction that takes place. Okay. Now, if a point of silicon behave equally as anode and cathode, means the point on silicon can behave as anode as well as cathode. So etching will be uniform. If a point on silicon surface behave anode and cathode equally interval of time, means in equal times. So uh, this is the anodic reaction that takes place. Any point, any point, any point that is supplied with the holes, it becomes this. So here it was silicon atom, it was supplied with the holes, and that was Si2 plus form. Now if localized cathode is there, reverse reaction will take place. Now let's say this is silicon, it will be converted into Si2 minus and two holes will be created. Okay. So in order for anodic reaction to take place, proper supply of holes should be there. Okay. So what is the etchant solution that is used? for silicon etching. So HNA etchant solution is used. H stands for hydrofluoric acid, N stands for nitric acid, and A stands for acetic acid, that is CS3COOH. Okay, so first of all, HNO3 acts as the oxidizing agent, is basically oxidizes the silicon. Okay, so how this oxidize the silicon? So HNO3 basically internally contains HNO2. Okay, so HNO2 reacts with HNO3 and form N2O4. Okay, this N2O4 is converted into NO2. This NO2 is converted into NO2 negative ion and holes. Okay, so holes are created here by HNO3, and these holes are being used by silicon as we discussed in the anodic oxide reaction. Here, these holes are being used. Okay, so HNO3 basically supply these holes. Okay, so for that matter, we should have enhanced supply of HNO2, because with the help of HNO2, these holes are being created. So that is how this is performed. Now next is, this was the etching of silicon. Now next is, how do we leach silicon dioxide? How you will use silicon dioxide? Each silicon dioxide. Now in order to etch silicon dioxide, just use the buffered solution of hydrofluoric acid with NH4F, that is ammonium fluoride. So buffered solution of hydrofluoric acid with ammonium fluoride is used in order to etch silicon dioxide. Next is metal etching. So aluminium and gold are the two most commonly used metals. So in order to etch aluminium, just you should use orthophosphoric acid with nitric acid HNO3. You should use in solution of H3PO4 and HNO3. Heat it at some temperature, aluminium will be etched. Okay. Now, if the substrate is gallium arsenide, here we were using the substrate silicon. Now, if the substrate is gallium arsenide, then you will have to use HCl with H2O. Okay, this is done like this. For gold etching, mixture of potassium iodide, iodine, and water is used. Potassium iodide, iodine, and water is used for your gold etching. Okay, so this was your wet chemical etching.